Hello there.
Hey, can you hear me okay, Martin?
I can, yeah. Can you see and hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you. You're right on
Good.
time. Have you always been
Hello.
a punctual guy?
Hello, Darren. Yeah, I'm psychopathically early for most things. So to arrive at five UK time is hard for me. Yeah, I'm usually hovering around early. There's something wrong with me. Yeah, definitely.
Well, the
How about
bottom
you?
line is I'm very thankful that you took the time to do this
Yeah, kid.
and big US tour coming up. But the bottom line is this. I love what it is you do. And I don't just mean the music. I mean, you've always presented this classy image, classier than all of your pop peers. So my first question, the thing I want to know, the suits. You've never stopped wearing the suits live. How many suits do you own?
That is a very good question. Yeah. I think I've got a lot of suits. Yeah. I mean, obviously the suits that were around 40 years ago, it's a bit like putting your old school uniform on or an old pair of jeans on,
Sure.
probably. But I did go through a period where I think it's a kind of phobia. I don't know, is that the right word? But I used to go down Savile Row and I've got a few suits, yeah, Oswald Batang suits. But I've got a mate of mine called William Hunt of Savile Row. He makes a nice suit.
Yeah.
And I've known Willie for about 30 years since we were growing up in Manchester. So he's made a lot of clothes for various artists, various stage clothes. So he reminds me every couple of years, he says to me, you know, Martin, it's a bit like Star Trek, The Next Generation in ABC, and you are Captain Kirk. So, you know, how do you feel about, I'll make you a new tuxedo or something, you know, so in recent years, yeah, it's kind of gone more tuxedo trousers, black trousers, guys, you know, the black patent shoes, the black shirt. That's how we do it. But yeah, I've got a few pair. I do have too many suits. I've recycled many. I've tried to recycle them with the band, with the bass player and the guitarist, but they don't always go for it. They're similar size to me, you know. But the suits, yeah. I had a gold suit, which has haunted me for 40 years. Yeah, I had a gold suit all those years ago.
Gold lame or gold standard?
Yeah, gold lame. So people would go, oh, hey, you know, Elvis, you know, where's your gold suit? So does that answer that question? I suppose my career has been quite a long one, so it justifies the stage clothes. But yeah, there is a little museum. In fact, there's a museum upstairs because I'm at home now with some of those clothes. But the Victorian Albert Museum is a very prestigious museum in the centre of London. And I noticed that they had some of Adam Ant's kind of highwayman clothes and his kind of famous pirate outfits from the New Romantic era. And they did approach me and ask me where the gold suit was. So maybe that's my pension, you know. I can go down there and they can auction it off. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Are you wearing a Run DMC t-shirt? Because you can just see
somebody's got to, right? You know.
And I remember hearing Rock Box for the first time in 19. Oh man, I'm older than you. You know,
it would have been like 84, 85 for Rock Box.
Yeah. I went to New York and I was in a cab and I could hear Rockbox, Eddie Martinez's guitar,
yeah,
you know, Daryl and the rapping side of it. And I thought I was listening to two radio channels. I just love those moments when you hear a piece of music and it's just like something you've never heard before. You know, I carry those memories with me. Years later, I remember hearing Bowie do Starman on TV and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. You know, there are certain pieces of music that just come along and just slap you in the face. So yeah.
Well, among them are
among them DMC
and ABC. And where I'm going to super compliment you is that you had these big international global hits, but you personally never stopped working. You know, the work that you did on music and lyrics, for example, and we've seen you on reality TV things in a way, reinvent yourself. What I'm curious about is when you kind of realize of, hey, I can keep making a living doing this at a high level, even if I don't have top 40 hits. Like, when did you realize that you were the brand and that it was going to keep going if you were willing to work?
We did a show in 2000 or 1999. I mean, I had a good run through the 1980s in this kind of early vanguard of MTV and all of that.
Yeah.
We did a tour with Culture Club and the Human League, ABC, and it was a stadium, like an arena tour.
Sure.
And it was the first time people were going, these 80s acts are back, you know. I always put it this way, for a long while during the late 90s, I'd be kind of just thinking about playing live again and getting back in the ring, getting back on the horse. And people go, what, you're still here? You know, I'm listening to you know, people are listening to a whole new musical landscape.
Yeah.
But then a couple of weeks goes by and people go, oh yeah, you know, you're a classic act, you know, you're a legend, mate. You're a national treasure in the UK. So for anybody out there, you gradually morph from, you know, you're hip when you start, of course you are. You can see the future coming and you're a part of that. But there's a point where every artist, anybody who's lasted more than 10 minutes has to accept that they're completely out of sync with public taste, you know. And if you can weather that storm, you can go forward. So we did this tour around the UK and it was like, people going, is that gonna work? But I noticed that the first 40 rows were kind of usually guys in bands anyway, who'd come to see Culture Club, Human League, and it was a sold out tour. And it was kind of the beginning of a kind of like 1980s nostalgia in a funny kind of way. And then people had festivals and would invite us back in. So it was at that point in time, I thought, yeah, there may be an opportunity to kind of carry the flag forward. Today it's called a brand, you know, but to kind of move forward in time with your music.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that you've got to have a record in the top 5. Yeah. And a lot of, at that point, you learn your skill sets and you kind of learn, you kind of enhance what you do on stage. Yeah. And you really do learn how to perform live on stage, because when you're on stage, there's no hiding place. You know, if people don't want to watch you, they'll just turn away. They'll go someplace else. It's different from being a pop star when you're on a TV show with Madonna and Lionel Richie and Prince and stuff, you know, American Bandstand and MTV and Solid Gold and Top of the Pops in the UK. Very different. So does that answer the question? Yeah.
That absolutely answers the question. You got it pretty early on. And, you know, I'm talking to somebody who has a doctorate in music. So do I have to call you Dr. Fry? I should have asked that.
Never. I got a doctorate of music at Sheffield University. The band formed in Sheffield, and Sheffield's in the north of England.
Yes, you and Def Leppard both.
Yeah, Joe Elliott and the boys. I imagine they're doctors of music too, I should imagine, yeah. So it was an honorary degree. But funnily enough, my daughter was kind of, Nancy was, she'd done 3 years at Sheffield University. So the day after, she went and got her degree. And she said hers was real and mine wasn't. And my great fear is, if I'm on a plane and somebody has a heart attack, somebody's going to go, is there a doctor anywhere nearby? And I'll go, yeah, I'm a doctor of music. You know, I don't know how to resuscitate the patient, but I do know who the drummer in the Sex Pistols was. So, you know, it's not, So no, I'm not. I'm not Dr. Fry. No. But it was very nice to be honoured in that way. But no.
Well, going back to you and your credits, I really like the cover that you did of High and Dry by Radiohead. And when somebody hears that, I think the light bulb goes off of, oh, Martin was always keeping up with music. Were you always keeping up with music?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved that. I always loved that song. And yeah, I do actually listen to a lot of contemporary music. I've started just in the last month or so listening to a lot of classical music. So I guess I'm getting old. You know, a bit of Mozart, a bit of Delius.
Classic. We don't say old. Vintage, classic.
Vintage, yeah. I think it's more like Alexa, you know, play me some Delius, you know, and that comes on in the mornings. But I do listen to a lot of contemporary stuff. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was listening to Harry Styles' record yesterday. I'm not even, my kids aren't even encouraging me to listen to it. You know, I check stuff out. I mean, I love the Weeknd. And I love the way, for me, I can hear a lot of those 80s kind of, the 80s palette there in the music coming through. On that. So I kind of listen to a lot of music, not everything. I used to listen, but yeah, I do check stuff out. With High and Dry, though, that was a song that I've always thought was brilliant. I've never really understood what the song was about. Maybe pushing yourself too far, maybe sobriety, all sorts of things are in that lyric. And a guy came along and said, we'd like to contract you to do a cover version, which is something I've never done. Can you make it sound a song from a different era sound as ABC as possible. And I was working with a guy called Gary Stevenson. So we pulled down the pizzicato strings and the pianos and the kettle drums, and we put all the ABC kind of cliches together in a box. And then that's how that cover of High and Dry, which is a song Radiohead brought out, I don't know, mid-90s, I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, that was in '95 off of the Bends.
And the Bends was it's a great record, but I was almost trying to take the song and put it in a time machine and take it back in time almost. Yeah, that was the kind of brief. I wasn't there to kind of reproduce what Tom and the rest and the band had done. I was kind of there to do something else. So that's. I wanted people to think that it was one of our songs. That was kind of impossible because the original song was really popular. But
right.
That's how that came about. Yeah.
And
I've not covered. Back in the day, I covered "I Wish I Were in Love Again," a Frank Sinatra song, album, track I'd heard, but I've never really, over the years, not really done that many covers. Sometimes people always have a kind of cover for their encore, don't they? They kind of cover something in the encore.
They have the cover, or if they're OMD, they do "If You Leave a Second and a Third Time."
Okay, well, funny enough, I ran into the guys from OMD on Saturday in Wales, did a show with them, Yeah, and and I had a conversation with Paul and Andy, and they said that was one of their biggest tunes in America. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is probably the
in a movie,
in
right?
America, and not the case everywhere else.
Yeah, that's exactly the conversation we had last Saturday backstage at a festival we were both playing. Yeah.
Well, that actually is something that I wanted to ask you about. Were the hits for ABC in America the same as the hits in England and Japan?
No. Be Near Me was a popular record in America, but it never really did much in Britain, and I never really play it much in Europe. It's rarely in the set. It's only if we have to play for 3 hours, I pull them off. Right, put that one in the set, which is rare. So it's kind of nice having parallel careers. In the UK, Lexicon of Love was really, really, really popular. So people still regard it as a classic, and in America, I like playing stuff off How to Be a Zillionaire and Be Near Me, and sometimes Ocean Blue and Vanity Kills and How to Be a Millionaire, stuff like that. So it's kind of nice having a catalogue of songs you can kind of mess with and play different songs from. Yeah.
Right.
I think every artist has that, don't they? I hope so. Yeah.
Not every artist kind of has that. Not to throw shade at them. I like Flock of Seagulls, but when you go see the Flock of Seagulls, you specifically want to hear everything from one album, and you don't necessarily care about the other 7. I think ABC was a multi-album success kind of band where there is a catalog. Not every band has a catalog.
You've got to play the hits, and it's not like, I've suffered for my art, now it's your turn. You paid good money to come to see the show, and it's got to be good in 2022. Yeah. But it's nice to kind of pepper the set if it's an audience that's just come to see ABC with some of the album tracks sometimes. Yeah, it depends.
Well, related to the thing that you just said about, we're not here to make you suffer. I was wondering if a lot of that was rooted in the fact that you were an editor journalist before you made it in music, that you had that sense of humor of knowing, don't do this because that bores the people.
Well, I think that's a big part of artistry. You've got to kind of, it's not showbiz to kind of understand and feel the empathy of an audience. And you stand on stage, and any performer knows this, you feel the kind of energy, and you kind of figure out if people are up for certain parts of the set, and you read the crowd. I'm sure that's a big part of it. But I was going to say, I have seen acts take the one big hit and kind of do they play an instrumental at the beginning, and they do the kind of teasing.
Tears for Fears, that's who you're talking about.
No, we did some shows with them, and they seem to get to it straight away. They got lots of hits, but the teasing thing, no, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a good metaphor for life. You can tell if the crowd aren't going with it. But fortunately for us, there's always been a kind of dance beat thing going on, so you can kind of throw the energy in and keep everybody dancing as well. Yeah.
Well, down to the last three quick topics related to that. As a person who's had these big hits and then decades of touring, in addition to all that,
Yeah,
consulting on stuff, is there anything you haven't done in your career that you're still hoping you'll get the call for?
that's true. Well, I really do enjoy kind of climbing on the stage now. People go, "Oh, do you ever get tired of it?" Well, you kind of approach it. It's always the present. It doesn't feel like the past. Yeah, of course, time has moved on, and
Sure.
but I do really enjoy. Probably my biggest challenge now is to make another album. Yeah, I love writing songs. You know, I always do that, but not to do a vanity project. You know, you reach a point as an elder statesman of pop where you could do something and it's going to be okay, but you know, it's just a vanity project. You want to do something. If there's another ABC record, it has to be the best one out there. You know, it's kind of, otherwise why bother? So there's that. No, I really enjoy playing live. I really enjoy standing in front of an audience. I'm not a frustrated film actor or anything like that. Maybe it would be nice to do a film soundtrack, I guess, but no, I feel pretty fulfilled. Yeah, pretty fulfilled.
And speaking of frustrated film actors, again, I mentioned earlier, you worked on music and lyrics, which had an excellent soundtrack. Some of the songs by Adam Schlesinger. Did you get to work with Adam at all as part of it?
Yeah. I mean, Adam passed away, didn't he, recently?
Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah, what happened to me was I got this call from Warner's Movies, and they said, "Martin, are you free for kind of the next 2 weeks and thereabouts? We'd like to kind of fly you from London to New York and put you in a kind of 5-star hotel and pay you to go down into a recording studio and hang with Adam Schlesinger, who I was familiar with, you know, his work and the band." I said, "I'm just going to check, you know, give me a couple of milliseconds here. Yeah, I can be there." So I had this role. They were making the film with Hugh Grant, music and lyrics, about a guy who'd been successful in the 80s and then less success in the 90s. Yeah, I think that
they kind of gave some Andrew Ridgely-esque vibes to him a little bit.
I had that feeling. I was going a bit Kurt Smith, you know. Then there was a vibe about, well, Martin, you know, can you go down and you know, just get involved? So I kind of thought I was a bit like Jake LaMotta when he showed up with Robert De Niro. A punch-drunk boxer comes down to show De Niro Raging Bull, you know.
Right.
Kind of, so I thought, yeah, okay. But it was great. Adam, he'd written a couple of songs, and I sang a few bits. But then Hugh Grant came down, and it was more like I had a great conversation with Hugh about. He says, "What can, you know? How should I perform it?" I said, "No, you know, like." But I said, the trademark is whenever you can't think of anything to do on stage, just point. The pointing is a really big part of my show. The suit and the pointing, you know, and you know. Harry Styles does it. He always has one arm in the air, and Jagger does it. You know, Springsteen does it. Bowie does it. Yeah. The pointing. I said, whatever you do, the pointing's a big part of it. It's different for an actor, but because you ain't pointing like that because you've got a microphone. If a singer points. Yeah. And I was really pleased when I went. So that was about the extent of my great information. Really, I mean, that was it really, and a bit of singing, but I mean, not a lot. And but I was really pleased when I went to see the film. They had this great pastiche of a kind of "Pop Goes My Heart." Yeah, Adam Schlesinger's track, and it was fantastic. Hugh Grant was incredible, but he was doing a lot of the pointing, and I kind of wish I had patented the pointing, you know. But
a lot. This is the best.
He did the pointing beautifully, so you know I can't say. And it wasn't really like Gene Kelly, you know, teaching him to dance or anything. It was just that. So I think I have no idea if they were happy with my input, but it stayed in the movie. Yeah, so that was it.
Before I ask you the last,
I didn't really, you know, that was about it. I had a great time in New York, and then I carried on. I went off on tour and did a lot of, you know, carried on the pointing tradition. Yeah.
That is the best thing. Seriously, I didn't mean to cut you off. That is the best thing I've heard today about the pointing. And a lot of my favorite singers ever are pointers. David Lee Roth is a big pointer. Paul Stanley from Kiss, big pointer.
One of the best.
But what percentage of the time that you're pointing, are you actually pointing at a person?
I think you're reaching out. You're trying to draw them in. Yeah, trying to draw the crowd in. So yeah, sometimes you do. But the funny thing is, you can play to like 20,000 people, right? look out, and if there's one guy yawning, you kind of look at the guy. And sometimes I'm playing like, I'm thinking, I've opened up for like some big acts, like Robbie Williams, and there's like kind of mile after mile of people. And if there's one person yawning, you zero, and you think, why is he yawning? But then I think, well, he must have come from work. He must be a bit tired. Or doesn't he like this song? You know what I mean? You kind of, it's stupid, isn't it? Whereas there's 19,999 other people going, yeah. But if you catch somebody yawning, so I guess that's what the pointing might be about.
Human nature to just focus on the one thing that's wrong and not the 99.
Human nature, yeah. Human nature, crazy, yeah. Pointless.
My last question for you, before I let you go, is do you have a TV recommendation, a show that you go, this is great, you should be watching this, that you could pass along?
I don't get paid for saying this. I mean, I'm a Netflix guy, you know. If I ain't playing shows, I'm there watching, you know, absorbing it all, Stranger Things and all these shows, you know, all the shows that come in. But I just watch Slow Horses. Have you seen Slow Horses? Gary Oldman in Slow Horses. It's on Apple Plus, I think. I don't get a free Apple Plus subscription, I should say. But that's superb. Yeah, it's kind of like a Mick Fallon book about the underbelly. And as Gary Oldman said when he was plugging it, he says it's kind of not really James Bond. It's it's kind of British spies, but it's kind of not really casinos and beaches and super baddies. It's kind of much more prosaic, everyday stuff, but it's fantastic. So that's my recommendation, Slow Horses. Yeah.
It's going on the list. Thank you for that, but more importantly, thank you for the many, many years of great music, and
thank you.
Hope there is another ABC album in the near future.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, thank you very much.
Paltrocast.